Hey everybody, welcome back to ThinkScript. My name is Mike Fairborn. Great to have you all back here today. Folks, I'm taking a look as of recently, looking at bottoms and bottom reversals, trying to find areas and ways to maybe identify a low on a chart that has been progressing, downtrending for quite some time, but then you get these interesting reversals off the bottom. What are we seeing on the chart data that we can then incorporate into a ThinkScript to help us kind of position ourselves for the possibility of a longer term reversal? So I want to talk about that today. Got some good examples to highlight that as well with you. Good to have you. As I mentioned, each of you here, we've got Paul, Ray Scott, and Mr. Riceberg himself. We've got, let's see, KB, Will, how's it going? Good afternoon to you, Will, as well. Got the sunshine out there for us. We've got Hamlet, Kelly, and others. Folks, I'm joined in the chat by a very good friend, colleague of mine, Kevin Horner. Great to have Kevin on board. You see him in the chat as KH. You can follow him, which I encourage you to do, on Kevin Horner CS on X, Kevin Horner CS. Mike Fairborn CS is mine. And yeah, that's a wrap. Let's get started on this. Hit some disclosures so we can get going here. All right, everybody. Information here is for general information purposes only, should not be considered an individualized recommendation or personalized investment advice. Paper Money software application is for education purposes only as well. Backtesting results, which we are going to be looking at some backtesting results. Okay, as we look at prices, it does state here they are hypothetical. There's no guarantee that the same strategy implemented today would produce similar results going forward. Past performance of any security strategy does not guarantee future results or success. Just a glance at futures there. Futures and futures options trading does involve substantial risk, not suitable for all investors. Folks, once again, as we are going through our steps to think scripting, because it is such a good outline, isn't it? It tells us what we could do, keeps us on our path of achieving the Think Script goal all the way to the very end of sharing that, which we do at the very end of our discussions here. We'll share that Think Script link. We go through here, and a lot of times the goals can be met by using indicators. And in this case, we're going to be looking at some of the momentum indicators, which can be useful when you're trying to spot this kind of activity. Prices coming down, right, over different ranges and different percentages, whatever the case might be. But then what you're going to get over here is a pretty substantial reversal, right? Okay, maybe not that high, but maybe it starts over here, and then it begins to trend up. Those can be driven by earnings. Actually, there's an update to earnings I want to talk about, although we're going to be looking at technicals today. We did have the Thinkorswim update to earnings, which I was waiting for a long time. Want to highlight, actually, we'll hit that after we look at the markets first. Didn't want to miss out on that, but folks, it's interesting. A lot of things we could look at here. You know, on a reversal, a price reversal, there could be patterns down below. We actually had, I did teach a class in here on a potential cup and reversal handle on a weekly chart, which is interesting. It tends to try to pick up on some of those. This is like a new high range over here, like a, you know, a higher high. Clearly, we're breaking above a range. But folks, we can actually simplify this and actually get, to some degree, better results instead of making it too complicated just by using a simple indicator that is already doing what? It's already looking at price action. So over ranges, we can get a sense of what an indicator is doing by helping us identify, hey, there was a low down here on an indicator, specifically a momentum indicator, because we're looking for momentum down or momentum up. We got a low on that indicator here. We got a low indicator over here, which is tied to what? It's tied to this. Open high, low and close. OHLC. You've seen it before. That's where 99% of all, maybe not 99, it's high 90s though, 90+% of indicators are developed from simple price data. And we're going to tap into that today because you can just get a lot out of it and make it real easy to, you know, allow ThinkScript to meet the goal, which is what we try to do here, right? It's only as good as the computer can recognize that it recognizes what we're trying to do, what we're trying to tell it. And we can make it a very simple script, which can be very, very helpful. All right, before we go any further, though, quick note on the markets, and I'm going to tell you about the earnings before we dive in. So there was an update on Thinkorswim that is useful for us too, helpful for sure, when you're looking at earnings growth, etc. But over here, yeah, prices, we did break below the ascending triangle. Now, if I were to ask Kevin right now, who is very equipped with technical analysis, in fact, his Trader Talks class every morning, you can catch that. I encourage you to do that. He's not always there because he's oftentimes out on the road. Encourage you to take a look at Kevin out on the road, watch him out on the road too, get set up with some of those live events. Those are fantastic. But if I were to ask him, I'd say, hey, Kev, if prices are trending higher here, trending higher, key point, and we have an ascending triangle, what direction do we normally anticipate? I mean, would a trader, some traders, I would say probably a majority that are looking at trends, etc., what direction would they anticipate prices breaking out of that level? What do you guys think? Throw it into the chat because I want you to think about this. We have two ascending triangles here on the chart. One went maybe in the direction of the trend and the others didn't. Any thoughts on that? Didn't mean to put Kevin on the spot, but I was just thinking, I've seen him take a look at trends and diagonal lines before. Something to be to keep in mind. Thank you. We've got one. Cecil. Cecil has us here. And I would say, generally speaking, up, 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 because we're getting higher highs, folks, and we're getting higher lows. We're getting a mini sequence of higher highs and higher lows, right? Getting tighter, but it's still a smaller magnitude and a smaller time frame of still the same thing. And that is conducive of an upward trend, higher highs, higher lows, right? So generally, you'd think it would go higher. We didn't get that, but there were a few things going on, of course. Greenland's in the news, right? It is in the news. And it's been going on for decades and decades. We've been wanting to acquire Greenland, but it's back again, and that might be a Greenland gap right there. But also there was an unwinding of the carry trade in Japan as well. Don't want to go into too many details on that, but out of more speculative assets, and that might mean stocks or whatever the case might be. Anyhow, there you go. It did gap down, but you guys are right. And so when you get this kind of strength, you might get a gap down, but if there's just like a news event that might be a one-off, we could continue to the upside. I have to say, there is a big 7K over there, 7,000. Those big round numbers, they might mean something sometimes on the chart. You can see we kind of paused here before. Yeah, paused for about a month. We don't know, but there might be that to get through as well. I will say this is not meant to be totally involved in the markets here in this class, but I did want to say it because I'm off tomorrow. Kevin is going to be teaching my class. He does a great job, and he'll look at even more details than I normally look at, just in different categories, right? And so definitely take a look at that class in the markets and sectors class. But just a quick note, look at market breadth here. The socialist index, right? Everything's equally weighted. S&P, SPX, EW, higher highs, higher lows. Oh yeah, we took out 8,000 over here when everything's equal weighted. So interesting, not market weighted, equal weighted. Sometimes you need market breadth, folks, for prices to continue higher. Now, that's my spiel there. All right. Yes, good call. It's not confirmed, and you guys said a lot of different points in there. Double tops, not confirmed, but all else equal. I should have said all else equal. I should have framed it that way. There are a lot of times looking at the trend going higher. Equal weighted here on the market is interesting as well too. All right, you guys, let's do this real quick. I'm gonna go take you guys in here under our scan is, yes, if I wanted to scan, for example, fundamentals. This is an update new to the Thinkorswim platform. We've had issues with this data for a long time. I reported it myself. I don't know if they were looking at my request, but I had a lot of them. Over here, we are in the stock hacker. Over here to the right, add filter. Now we're going to go ahead and add a fundamental filter in here. I'm going to show you what has changed from where it was before. So the fundamental filters can be really helpful and useful. Let's just we can choose anything in here, really. I mean, we could use something like, revenue or sales per share. What about revenue? I'm going to do sales per share. Watch this. Now, you guys see this year over here? We have quarter over quarter as well. I think if I go current annual, and they've actually added some cool things in here before. We didn't have all this additional data, but this is current annual. This year over year has changed. Let me show you what happened here on this year over year. For example, if you're just looking at sales per share, which is a fantastic way to look at it, this is an update to the platform. What it would do previously is if we weren't through the year, so in other words, we've got Q1, 2, 3, etc. Okay, going forward, right? And that all the way to 3, and I'll say 4 over here, that gives us a 1-year time frame. I have to kind of give you a visual here of what changed. If, in fact, the way it was before, if we hadn't completed a full year and we were stuck somewhere like right over here, we were just, hey, we were just halfway through the year, what this would do is it would use this whole other year that was completed in the past. So here we are. We are in, so let's say if it was, let's say this was 2024 and this is 2025, and we're only halfway through 2025. We've got really important data in here, but it would use the full year over here of 24. Now, what it's going to do is it's going to do this. The update is this. It actually uses a full year using the current quarterly data. So quarter, as an analyst would say, quarter over quarter, like year over year up top is what we're looking at up over here. YOY, QOQ. It's actually using 3 and 4 of 24, quarters 3 and 4 of 24 to do what? To give us a full complete year that is, in fact, current, and current makes all the sense, all the sense in the world. So now I can run these scans. I'm going to be doing that as well, and maybe some of these other classes that I teach. This class maybe not so much, but it could be an interesting scan nonetheless. I'm just going to highlight that for you guys. So it does that for us. Really quite cool. Okay, that's just one update. There are some other updates that are coming on the platform as it relates to alerts and other orders and things along those lines. Not to dive into the weeds on any of that. I'm just highlighting those are some of the details that are going to be coming up in the future. All right, and maybe by the next week I can give you all of the full breakdown on those, which I intend to do. All right, back to our charts. Now, finding companies that have been coming down off a particular range. I wanted to highlight this for you. Look at this. If we scroll over here, I'm just going to choose. This is right out of the market and sectors group. So here is, and I pulled this, actually I borrowed this, I used this from Kevin. I actually let him know I was using the sector rotation grid. But here's just a standard sector grid, which I think Kev had as well. I had this too, I believe. But just looking at the chart data, I'm going to use some back testing data, and I wanted to highlight a particular group in here. Now, what that group was this area right here, Infotech. And all I'm showing to you guys here are all the companies that fall into Infotech, that sector in the S&P 500. Let me share this right now. Although ThinkScripts aren't guaranteed for timeliness or accuracy, this is actually not a ThinkScript. This is just simply a grid of charts. But I just want to highlight that just so you know. But here is the sector grid. I think some of you already have this, but I want to make sure you do if you don't have it, so you can take a look at trends that are improving in the markets as well. Great stuff for back testing. Very good to have because you can see what's been moving. Now, over here into this range, notice earlier into, if we're going back in about 6 months or so, 5 months or so, we started to break above a range in Infotech. What was interesting about this is some companies broke out above a range stronger than others. Some industries within this group, and I think there are about 6 industries here. Right click, I'm going to pull it up and just show you a big picture. It's been going down recently, but notice not all of tech has been going down. In fact, I pulled this up over here just to highlight this for you guys. I was thinking about sending a potential tweet out on this because talk about the strong industry within a sideways to even downtrending sector. Technology. Look at this. This, folks, is the semis, right? The semiconductors. So we'll just plug that in here right now. These are all the semis. You got Intel coming off of these lows over here. I mean, AMD, big round number at 200 right there, kind of bouncing off. This is one I was using the TTM squeeze, something that we've used in this class frequently, but we had a price compression in here as well. We also had a price compression here on semiconductor before it broke out. But notice that the theme is very, very similar across the board. Massive move on this Rambus. I mean, we were at 90 over here. But what got us started here? Why was this unique, relative to others in tech that were just really ordinary and basic and just dropping? Now, software has really been bad lately, but what happened to the charts over here? Well, I'm going to tell you guys there was something interesting that happened to the charts, and I'm going to pull it up right now. On those charts, notice over here when we first got started, and some of them are a little bit, no, I'm sorry, I've got to put these all at a 1 year. That's what looks a little bit different. Okay, I detached it, but I didn't have everything quite as a 1 year just yet. No, that's a 1 year. Everything's 1 year now. Okay, good. Notice over here, we got this interesting move around, some of them April, some of them September-ish, and they all kind of had different areas. But we really had been consolidating for a while and nothing was happening on Intel. And then all of a sudden, we got like a really big spike really fast. Now, that was a 5-point move, but percentage-wise, that's pretty big. 20 to 25 over a short range. Look over here with me. If you want to just use just one more to get us across this entire range, huge move, big move. Well, what followed from that? Keep in mind technology. The sector was doing this kind of over this time frame, not Intel. Okay, not Intel, not AMD, not ON Semiconductor, and not Rambus. What's interesting is they're all a little bit different. They all come from different time frames, but they all had sort of a substantial move over here. It was massive. This was even big by itself. It was over a longer period of time, but over here you can see it was quite large, and then a consolidation. Look over here. I mean, just huge moves, kind of forming a weekly type pattern. But what was happening there? What was going on? I'll tell you what, I mean, if we start throwing on momentum indicators, we can spot probably over a short period of time, we saw these stocks, and I might just pick on Intel here too, but we probably saw, which we did because I've looked at this, but very likely, I'll pull it up. Here we go. Let's go full screen. We saw oversold to overbought happen very, very quick, indicating just some real buying pressure coming in. Now, it might not have been good short term because we consolidated, but overall, it was showing some strength. All right, let's go into this here. Actually, first and foremost, let's just maximize it. That's what I wanted to do first. Okay, so let's go over here, and I'm going to click on our wheel. And before I do that, this is a look. I know many of you have been in here before. This is one place to find it, though. If you wanted to go into study, there we go, studies, and I'm going to go over here, and I'm just going to add a study. We do have momentum studies, and there you go. We have so many that they've been set up, and you guys might have some favorites in here, but many we've talked about before. Gosh, CCI, we've done a CCI, we've done a MACD for sure. We've done a few of those. You got that in there, moving average convergence divergence. What else do we have in here that we could use? Really anything. RSI could be used as well. Stochastic, there we go, towards the bottom. Rate of change. We're kind of at this phase right now. Can ThinkScript meet the goal? We're looking for a massive momentum move that sticks out, kind of like a sore thumb on the chart, and we want to tap into that over here and say, what were we seeing in price? Because we all have to admit that was a massive move on Intel. Let's start off with stochastic. I'm going to create an easy script to help us find these sort of bigger reversals that might be happening over a longer term time frame. In other words, what helps us focus in on this area in the first place? So here's stochastic, and we're just going to use a standard stochastic here. We can use a full stochastic right over here. There we go. I'm just going to leave the defaults in place, and we'll go from here. Yeah, let's throw out a MACD as well. I'm going to throw out a few of these, and we can take a look at them. Okay, as we looked at this. Now, This was the initial move that I pointed to on Intel. Look at that. We went a very, very short-term time frame off these lows. If we were looking at a value, I mean, we're right off the bottoms here. We're almost, I mean, we're just above zero, and then we're almost to 100. So that hit a full range right here. Does that look bullish to you? I mean, there's a lot of strength in a move like that to the upside. Clearly, did we clear some ranges here? We did. In fact, we're resting right over on this above this higher range here. Now, all else equal, folks, from the eyes of the technician, that was positive. But we had something here to kind of help us. It's challenging to kind of make a simple script that just identifies this in price action. You know, what are you saying? Okay, you broke a high. It could be breaking a ton of different highs. But this was unique over the time frame. So how many bars did it take for us to do this? Watch this. This is a way to kind of compute this data. That's not the one I was after. 1 second. Sorry about that. Let's change this block over here so I can count those bars just using the diagonal line from here off the bottom to this point right there. My gosh, 11 bars. 10, 11 bars. There's 10. There's 10 bars right there that we did that in. So basically a couple of weeks worth of data, right? This is, each bar here represents a trading day, so not the weekends, and we're looking at bars below. So 10 bars, as you can see, not days. Yeah. So over that range, massive, massive spike. Okay, interesting. Did it take some time? What else are we getting with the stochastic? Well, we had a little bit of a pullback here. So it took time to get down to that low. Really, you know, we started to kind of top here, dip, 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 and then we had the spike. Well, that's something we could certainly isolate. Where else on here did we see another interesting spike that had a pretty decent follow through? Now, it wasn't all the way down to zero, but just right over here a couple months later, after we'd kind of had a run and began to consolidate, yeah, we hit it again. It was below 20. And let's just get a number here. Oh, well, that's okay. I'll just do this. Let's just see the number. I'm looking at the stochastic low right here as an example. So it did hit, the low was 10. What's this one? This has got to be much lower. What's the low here? Oh, no, I'm sorry, 4 here. That's a 4, and that's not a 10. It's a, yeah, it is 10. Okay, so 4 and 10. You know, below 20 for sure, but look at the spike. So if we use this again off of that low, there you go, 10 days again, right to the top, near 100. So off that bottom, just isolating some of these moves, it was just an interesting indication because what came after that was another explosive move. Got one here, explosive move, just something to keep your eyes on. It just says, hey, we had so much force, so much buying pressure that this momentum indicator literally went from the bottom to the top over a short range. So why not just create a scan around even the MACD? Now that is the mainline MACD, just so you know. There are 2 lines in the MACD. We got a main line, and then we've got another line over here, which is just the average of the main line. Excuse me, MACD, I'm sorry, the stochastic. So this is the stochastic full. I'm looking at the chat, looking at the MACD, and so I want to pull that up as well. I'm going to add this into it right now so we can come back and look at this. There's our MACD. Okay, just going to keep the defaults on it. And what I'm going to do, though, the histogram kind of is adds so much additional data to it. I'm just going to take it out for now. And so I'm just looking at the, let's see, there is a 2-line MACD, and I don't even have to worry about anything else. So watch, if I go to the MACD over here, the 2 lines. And so I'm just going to cut out the histogram for now, not to say that it can't be used. It certainly can. But let's go ahead and take a look at this right now and see what we've got here as well. So you can see the main line. The main line is going to be our cyan, that light blue line. It's below 0, and it raises almost to 1 over here. So think about what we can do in ThinkScript. We can certainly use values. This was below, so it's not quite -1, and it's not quite -1 here, but it was below 0, and we shot up up pretty sharply here over that same time frame, right? Or very close to that same time frame. Yeah, maybe a little bit more, but you get the idea. Okay, over here as well. Now that's strong momentum, just using the default indicators over this time frame. Yeah, of course, we got it over here too, but yeah, I mean, you hopefully you guys are seeing what I'm getting at. We're below the zero line. I'm trying to look at indications here to kind of back test and see what the heck is going on, so that then we would recognize this on the MACD going forward. And even importantly, in this class, we can simply scan for it, see if it's happening out there in the NASDAQ 100 or the S&P 500 very, very quickly. All right, cool. Let's do it. Let's go over here and let's take a look at some of these right now. Okay, using the, what do we have in terms of stochastic? I'm going to throw out one more over here too. So we've got three to look at. One very common one, I would say, is going to be your RSI, Relative Strength Index, as well. We'll even put that one down here. It's getting a little crowded, I know, but there you go. Oh yeah, another example. This one was actually oversold initially, right here, MACD, excuse me, RSI oversold to right up near the overbought in that same time frame. This one, not as much. We did dip down to about 40, and we ran up to, I guess, what is this level? Yeah, the overbought is generally at 70. Although I've seen them at 65, I've seen them at 80, I've seen them at 60 even. People would look at this overbought at 60, but there you go. So what we're really identifying is the strength of the move relative to different prices. Cool. All right, so let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at our scan tab over here, and we're going to just start off with a, you know what, we could actually, yeah, we could actually make this even easier. I think even without the code, we should be able to make it even more simplified for those people that are not using ThinkScript coding just yet. We should be able to do everything here. That's one of the huge benefits of using, really, I have to say, it's one of the huge benefits of using the condition wizard. And using indicators with it. It gives us the ability to map out indicators that are similar to kind of certain price action we're looking for. Okay, so let's go over here. We are looking at, in this case, just a flat out study. In this case, let's pull up the stochastic and see what we've got. I know the RSI and the MACD are going to be really, really easy to do, but what about stochastic? Scroll on down and find the full. Okay, so we've got different areas that we're looking at, and you notice over here we got the full, the overbought signal. So what we need to do right now is let's do this. I'm going to pause this for a second. We're going to use this, but I'm going to come back over here, my other screen. I got to cancel out of that real quick, just so we can see it. And what I want to do is highlight this particular line. So for this one, okay, so you've got over here, slow breakout. Okay. Let's do, yeah, we should still be able to do this. The overbought oversold lines, you got the percent K and D. I think we're looking at, okay, hang on one second. I'm just going to adjust this real quick and see what we got down below. Yeah, okay. So there are some changes. I'll tell you what. Let me do this. I've already looked at the MACD. I've looked at the RSI. I'm going to switch into this first. It may not be, it's obviously not totally the same as the other two when using the condition wizard. Let's go ahead and take a look at the MACD next. We'll go study. Here is the MACD 2 line, and we're simply just looking at, there it is, 2 line right there. And what are we going to be plotting? The actual, not the average, but the value line. It's referred to as the value line as well, and we had the 0 in here too. Okay, so what I'm going to look at, we'll go ahead and plot value, and I'm going to show you that we're going to be, in this case, we're going to be crossing above the 0 line as well. So crossing above this line right here, a value on it, and the value is going to be 0, and we want to be looking at this over the past few bars. And so we're going to see this, and I'll show this on the chart over here as we build this guy up. So this is one indication that we're after here, a cross. okay, above, and it's going to look similar to this right here. Just our mainline MACD. Check this out for now. There we go. So mainline MACD crossing above zero, very, very simple and basic, right? Right there. Okay, but the lows over here were less than 50, less than 50 right there. So minus 40, I'll just say minus 50, below 50, and then we went above 80, 0.8. So minus 0.5, right, to above 0.8, but over a specific time frame. Okay, and we're going to try to capture this kind of quickly as we do this, okay? So what we got to do is we want to say that it's below a certain a level over the past, if we're going back maybe 20 days. And then we also want to say that over the past 5 days or so, or 10 days, we could say that it's over above the 0.8. And that's all we're doing here because we have the same match on both. So I'm going to come back over here and we'll do it. And this should still be able to be done right here, and it is. Okay, this has one additional component that the RSI doesn't require. It's above the zero line, but that's okay. We'll do the RSI next before we're done here. Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the study. Again, we're just going to pull up that MACD2 line. Okay, and we're using the value line here. And we're going to say it was less than, is less than a value of minus 0.50 over the last 20 bars within this time frame. I'm going to say 25 for now. We're going to try to capture this a little bit early to see what's happening in the market, okay? So 0.25 or 25 bars. So we have to go back far enough in time to see it. Okay, the next thing is, and I'll highlight it again here. I'm just doing this just step by step at this point in time, just to show you guys. So each one, we'll make it nice and straightforward here. Value line is greater than a value of 0.8. So not greater than 1, still less than 1, but this is going to be a shorter term time frame because we want to make sure that this is happening last, So I want to say something like, instead of 25 bars, I'm going to say 10. So this is going to imply that it's doing just this. In fact, we went down and we went up over this time frame, and so we're looking at the top area and we're saying, yeah, this needed to have happened over a shorter time frame. Whereas the other one, what we did, what about this time frame on the minus 0.5? It was less than minus 0.5. There's just more time, right? If we want to try to get a range that happened over here within 10 bars, that is, it could have been 5, sure, could have been 5, but there's time, right, from where we're at right here. So if I go back further, it's got to be more time. And that's why I put 25 down here, and we can use 10 here, because we want to make sure that it's happening after the fact. The only thing I got to do is I want to say I've got to increase the jump above the zero line a little bit quicker. Let's just do that right now. 1, 2, and 3. There were 3 components for us to push position here, to get this in place. I set above 0, and I'm going to say this now, that happened within, let's say, 20 bars. Okay, so I'm going to save it, click OK. You guys see it? Okay, so we've done some think scripting here, and now we're going to go through the process of taking a look and just see what we've got. S&P 500, it's a lot of companies. Let's see what we get. Shouldn't happen too often. Actually, I guess it could, though, depending upon where we're at. Let's just take a look at some of these and see where we're going. No, so it did get AMD. We got less than 20% of the stocks out there. Oh, let's go ahead and just move this back over here into our daily, weekly, monthly that I have set up as a grid chart. AMD, not ADM. There you go. So now I can come in here. I'm going to clear these guys out, and let's just confirm it. Click, click. And let's see, money flow. We don't need that right now. We're going to take a look at this. We'll go ahead and put MACD2 line right here and click on it. Okay. Did we get that over that time frame? We did actually. Now, it wasn't like in one fluid motion, but we are below, we crossed above the zero over 25 days, and here's the next spike. Nice. Okay. Is it identifying a sharp move over here? Folks, that move took it out, and now you're getting an additional confirmation that you could be looking at. Yeah, above the zero line. Trending higher? Yeah, we're breaking above this level. Did it meet the criteria? It did. In fact, this is substantially higher in terms of where it had moved previously, um, relative to the price that we were looking at before. But this is a lot more volatile as well. Okay. I would say that you got something very similar over here too, right here, this move. Look at this. See how you're identifying it? That's what we're after, this kind of a move. Now, I didn't realize AMD happened right there, but it does take our attention deeper into that indicator. Think scripting can help us in this regard. In fact, backtesting can. We're looking at actual values, momentum values here, and that's what makes our discussion different because it's happening over a certain range, right? So it can help us get a sense of magnitude going forward. You guys have that script right there. I'm just going to send this one out just so you have it. Again, not guaranteed for timeliness or accuracy, but I'm going to share. I've got to save it first. It's just all done in actually the condition wizard, but that's great because it makes it easy for us to get to as well. Let's save it first, and then I'll just type it in here. I'll just say, okay, so I'm going to just highlight it, MACD, and it's looking specifically at the momentum. Okay, MACD momentum. Here it is. So let's save it, let's share it, and I'll post that right into the box down below. So there you go. We've identified it on a chart as an area that could be of use, and there you go. So it's sticking out. So yeah, the other one we could do too, just in the last couple of minutes, I mean, yeah, check with the other momentum indicators and highlight this, but what a cool way to use ThinkScript tools to find out something that's already working on the chart. By the way, you know what helped me to actually recognize this is trying to create a ThinkScript to identify some of the stronger moves. Then you break it down. Shoot, you can see the values in there as well. Let's swap this guy out right now with an RSI, standard RSI, and we'll pull this in and we do the exact same thing over here. I'm going to clear out this ThinkScript, and what we'll do is you can still keep it in if you wanted to have two kind of two indications of it, I guess you could say, two signs. You could have them running independently as well. That's doable for sure. Let's go over here. Let's add that condition in as well. And this is going to be a study and RSI. Okay. Now, this is interesting because we're not looking, we could say, you know, let's see, is greater than, is less than 40 over here, a value of 40. And instead, this one happened over that longer time frame, 25, 30 days or whatever it is. Okay, so that's the downward move. Now, what about the upward move? Add a condition. So simple. We're right back to where we were, just RSI. Adding this in is now greater than the value of whatever we want to put in there. What were some traders looking at least 65? They could even go higher if they wanted to over the last 10 bars. Okay. I'm going to change one little thing. I'm going to say, you know what, instead of 40, I'm going to say less than 35. Whoa. Now we're going to have a big dip and a breakout much, much quicker. It's just 2 lines of script for the RSI. Let's click on OK. Let's run that on our scan over here and see what we get. Okay, we get 43 that have come out over that time frame. But what does that look like on these charts? We could go through and scan them and just see what kind of a price spike we're getting. I'm going to pull one up in here to take a look. Here's BG. BG. Oh, yeah. Some massive moves. In fact, we got the exact same thing happening over here, too, right there. See it? Spike up, consolidation, another strong follow through. You're definitely below 35, above that 60. You can get this relatively quick. Now, it could have consolidated above 100, but it didn't. It kept running. Wow, that's a big mover too, BG. That is being pretty impressive, folks. But one way, the last thing I'm going to say here is when you want to adjust these for even more momentum strength, you've got now some of the tools to do it. All you want to do is adjust what your numbers are right over here. That's it. Adjust your numbers. Hey, as I'm scanning, as I'm back testing, what is it doing? Is it dipping below? I think one of them we looked at was below 30, and then coming up, over 65. So that can get us some of those spikes where they're starting off the bottom, but it's a cool way to scan for momentum using actual values of the indicators. And ThinkScript's got us covered. All right, everybody. Well, hey, if you like this session, smash the like button. This is somewhat tied into a topic request we had. I've got still about 15 more to go, but I like to tie them into current market conditions. You guys tap into this, utilize it for sure. I'll go ahead and just this scan right here. Let me just share this as well so you have it as well. Again, not guaranteed for timeliness or accuracy, but that's the RSI scan I just drew. And if you're seeing this for the first time, I will have those down at the bottom of the description of YouTube. If you're seeing this as a recorded version, but that's down there. But this is just designed to kind of open your mind around price moves and what indicators are tracking in terms of the magnitude of the move that could happen later on. Is it a major change in the trend, a bottom reversal? All right. So on that, everybody, have a great rest of the day. See you next time. Thanks so much for your help in the chat, Ken. And by the way, there was a survey in the chat. If you get a chance to fill that out, that'd be fantastic. Just 2 questions that come through in there. But I look at those. My manager looks at those. Again, a ThinkScript day for sure. Hopefully some tools you guys can use as you're in your back testing, etc. All right. See you next time, all. Bye-bye.